Hey there, Petey. You are apparently trying to make an effort to ban anyone in the military from reaching out for civil rights help. It's not going to work, Petey. Please understand that you are in the executive branch. I'm not sure you ever studied this in whatever school you went to. You don't get to legislate. See, that belongs to Congress. You don't get to judiciate. That belongs to the federal court system. You execute the laws that are passed by Congress, and you do not interpret them. That belongs to the judiciary. This is something that is embodied in another thing we call the U.S. Constitution. And before I forget, I just want to say one more thing, Petey.
Beep off. Mikey Weinstein is on the line with us, the founder and president of the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, MRFF. MilitaryReligiousFreedom.org is the website. Mikey Weinstein, Weinstein on Twitter. Mikey, welcome back to the program. It's been way too long since you've been with us. Give me an update on what's going on with MRFF and Mr. Hegseth.
Well, Tom, first, it's great to see you again and be back. I'm just so happy that you're still out there fighting away. Don't ever go anywhere. You got to stay here like all the rest of us and fight. As I tell everybody now, you have two choices as American citizens. You can either collaborate or you can resist. And if you decide to do neither, you're collaborating. So thank you and the Thom Hartmann Show and the whole crew for being here and continuing to fight for what was designed to be a beautiful democracy. Pete Hegseth, the new Secretary of Defense. We got the word a little over a week ago from our folks at the Pentagon. We just went past 93,000 clients here at the foundation. I think when I first started doing your show, I think we just had 2,000 or 3,000 clients. I mean, so it's been we're 20 years now, and about 95% of our clients are actually Christians themselves, Tom, that are being abused for not being Christian enough. In the military, all 18 national security agencies, the Coast Guard, which is the Department of Homeland Security, and the U.S. Maritime Service, specifically the Merchant Marine Academy, which is the Department of Transportation. But we got the word that Hegseth, and nothing's happened yet, maybe we got out in front of it, that was the goal, was going to try to prohibit anyone in the military from reaching out to us for help. Now, there's precedent for this because in the summer of 2023, Mike Turner, a MAGA right-wing fundamentalist Christian congressman from Ohio, the Dayton area, submitted legislation to amend the largest part of the federal budget, Tom, the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 24. Get this, to make it a felony for anyone in the military to reach out to us. We were mentioned 3 times by name, and we had to work for 6 months on the Senate side, the Democratic side, to get that out of the Pentagon funding bill before it got to Biden in late December of 2024. Oh. But they've never even done that, Tom, to Planned Parenthood or the ACLU. So we kind of wear that as a red badge of courage, that they're so worried about us trying to support the rights of sailors, soldiers, Marines, and airmen. Guardians is what they're called in the Space Force. Air Force Academy, Military Academy, ROTC, OCS cadets, even junior ROTC cadets and midshipmen in the high school realm. That trying to protect the wall separating church and state. That they're trying to make it a crime to have anyone reach out to us. So in case Hegseth had any bright ideas about that, we decided to come out with the statement. And yeah, I did tell him to F off at the end because that's how I feel. I love Michelle Obama. I love her, but when she says, when they go low, we go high, I don't agree with that. When they go low, we got to meet them where they are and fight them where they are. So we're not going to sit back and let, as I mentioned in the clip, this misogynistic, mendacious, alcoholic, fundamentalist Christian nationalist stop members of the military from trying to reach out to us so that we can very aggressively and militantly, although legally, ethically, and morally, fight for their constitutional rights to separate themselves from this concept of Christian nationalism, Tom, which, as you know, is trying to replace our beautiful constitutional democracy with this this thing right out of Margaret Atwood's Gilead and the Handmaid's Tale, Brave New World.
Yeah, I completely get it. And Mikey, when you first started coming on this program, and I think it might have been as much as 20 years ago, your son was in the Air Force Academy, and that was the thing that got you into this, because the right-wing fundamentalists were coming after him, basically, as a Jewish kid in the military, or in the academy. And I'm wondering, what's the status, tell us some stories. What are the kinds of outrages that you guys are encountering that you're trying to defend people against?
Well, I advise people to go to the website, as you did earlier. It's just mrff.org or militaryreligiousfreedom.org. That son, by the way, is actually two sons and a daughter-in-law who graduated from the academy. And one of my sons is now a senator from the state of Ohio. He's a state senator. That's Casey. My other son, Curtis, they both graduated. Went on to teach public high school history in Arizona. Not the easiest thing to do. My daughter-in-law, Amanda, is a noted economist. They've all done very, very well, but the stories are pretty shocking. We just had a win today, actually. We had a situation where on Sunday, a large part of the Air Force Command called Air Education and Training Command, based at Joint Base San Antonio, which is the largest DoD installation in the world, put up a Facebook post about one of their Air Force, flight line crew chiefs, where the guy put his name out there, and in the middle of it had a quote from the book of Galatians in the New Testament. Now, there's an Air Force regulation that we helped push through years ago that makes it clear that you cannot push your religious faith if it's inextricably intertwined with your job position, among other things. Well, this had him in uniform in front of an Air Force airplane where he's crew chiefing on the flight line with the quotation from the New Testament right between his name. So I sent a demand letter to the three-star general who commands AETC, spoke to his deputy, a two-star general, today. And in a matter of minutes, they took the Facebook post down and they put it back up with the biblical citation off. But we've had two of our biggest stories were Jesus rifles. It turned out that every rifle in the DoD inventory had on its scopes burned into it citations from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John in the book of Revelation, just citing it there because a large defense contractor with a $2 billion contract to make these scopes, Trigicon, based in Michigan, had put that in there. We had a number of members of the military that came to us in one of the provinces in Afghanistan because they were walking into the villages and the elders wanted to see, we call them the Jesus rifles. You can imagine the optics with our members of the military shooting Muslims through a sight that has the biblical citations on it.
Was this part of the specifications and the request for?
Yes, it was actually apparently in the contracts itself. But Trigicon, the TRI of Trigicon apparently stands for Trinity, right? And so that was shocking. It turned out when we did this, though, that it was not just. It was all the NATO rifles had the same thing as well, along with the Israeli Defense Forces. I guess they didn't realize when they bought the rifles that they were in there, but we had young 18, 19, 20-year-old members of the military terrified that they would be pissing off the local indigenous personnel that we're supposed to be supporting. They were taking pennies and trying to scratch it off of the metal base, but then they had their superiors saying that we will prosecute you via court-martial for defacing government property. Another the Jesus nukes. We had over, I think we had 68 United States Air Force nuclear missile launch officers, Tom, the ones in the silos that push the switches, telling us that they're going through their training at Vandenberg Air Force Base, where I actually spent 4 years. My dad was stationed there. My wife and I are both military brats. And they were being trained with a PowerPoint presentation that we got. Our clients gave it to us through the Freedom of Information Act that was letting them realize that it was filled with biblical citations. The concept of the just war theory that Jesus, that's how it was called, Jesus loves nukes, and it ended up with an endorsement from Werner von Braun, a Nazi SS, rocket scientist, saying that when the Nazis left World War II, they wanted to go to a Bible-based society to bring their advanced technology there, which of course they brought to us, which certainly helped us out later on with NASA and with everything else. But in between, we've had the stories are literally legion. We've had Native Americans told that they're going to play to dress up in Indian garb for Christian-oriented Thanksgiving celebrations. Whenever we get around a holiday time, particularly when it's Christmas or something like that, or the 4th of July, it's turned into this concept of vicious, oppressive, as I say, weaponized Christianity. And listen, Tom, as you know, when you're in the military, if you're even being gently evangelized by your military superior, get the hell out of my face, sir or ma'am, is not an option for you, because that in the military, insubordination is a felony. In the military, under a separate code, the Uniform Code of Military Justice, even adultery is a felony because it destroys good order, morale, discipline, and unit cohesion.
Well, how did Hegseth survive?
Oh, I was going to say he's the perfect example of incredible hypocrisy. when you have a guy like that who knows how many girlfriends he may have had, how many people he got pregnant when he was married before. It's the height of hypocrisy for that cesspool of a human being, that subhuman, to now be the Secretary of Defense with his tattoos that say things like, God wills it, which is, right out of the Crusades.
Right.
The bad guys haven't been in charge even a month yet. And look what is happening. So we've been, since you've asked, we are quadrupling the number of clients that are coming to us. And what's amazing, a number of them are multi-star generals and admirals, senior executive service level folks in the civilian service, civil service. Normally we get junior enlisted and junior officers, but not now. I feel like we're at the Alamo. We're helping everybody as much as we possibly can, and we're not going to go anywhere. And if Hegseth thinks he's going to try to outlaw us, he'll have another thing coming.
Yeah, there you go. Mikey Weinstein. Mikey, I'm out of time here, but thank you so much for dropping by and for doing the great work you're doing with the Military Religious Freedom Foundation, MRFF. Let's continue this conversation in the future.
All right, Tom. Thank you very much.